I love the music.
Love it as well. Minimal house,
Yeah.
right?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you're coming from, what part of the world you are. You're still on Tone here, Tone Live. We are back speaking out loud about Tone, about DeFi. So, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone who's in the middle, very welcome to our session. It's been a while we talk, and it's been a while what has happened in the world of DeFi. So today we are diving into the action with Tradoor and Factorial, speaking out loud what is looping and all that stuff, how to get tap into 20 plus APR. Oh yes, that is possible, that is truly possible. And let me first introduce the guest speakers and share a little bit more who they are, what they are building here right now on Tone, and why is it happening actually. MJ, hi, how are you doing? Please introduce yourself and share a bit more details about yourself too.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for the warm introduction, and it's a great honor to have you all the participants, friends. It is very a huge honor. So my name is MJ, and I'm currently with the Factorial Finance team, and I'm responsible for the growth. And today we're gonna talk about the how is actually looping working, and how is the DeFi forecast in the Ton ecosystem. It is really great to be here.
Indeed, it's really great to have you with us. Another great and not quite less interesting guest with us speaking today is Lev. Hi, how are you doing?
Hi. Hello. Thank you for the intro. I'm Lev, head of partnerships at Tradoor. Thank you so much for inviting us. Thank you to all the listeners for listening. It's great to share some insight with you. Probably tell some more about looping. I've seen some guys in the comments actually joining who haven't heard too much of it, so I think it's going to be a meaningful session. And let's go into it. I would love to introduce the project as well. I don't know if it comes later or now.
No. Feel to speak out loud right now if you want to. This is very free space, so you're
Yeah.
very welcome to share anything that you have to say.
All right. So yeah, when it comes to Trader, basically, for those who don't know yet, we are one of the biggest DeFi protocols on on Telegram, and basically a derivative DEX. First on many aspects, I would say. So first of all, to basically combine together perps, options, and social fi trading. First to embed the trading bot into the chats, into communities through social play mechanics. First, with the price lock mechanism, basically eliminating slippage, which is super important for derivative trading and TON especially. And I would say since recently the first one with the turbo mode, and basically made us truly the fastest, the cheapest derivative DEX on TON on Telegram. Basically, since 2 weeks ago, we became like 600 times faster, up to 600 times faster, up to 10 times cheaper on the gas fees. So please check it out if you haven't yet. And I don't know, ask us any questions if you have regarding the project. And yeah, I think MJ would love to introduce Factorial as well.
Yeah, so it's thank you very much, Lev, for handing it over. I didn't know the introduction was like in this part. So Factorial Finance, it wasn't just born from the hype. It wasn't just like copy paste like fork or something that work on like the most like like widespread chain as a like EVM. It was built out of the belief that we could reduce the friction and simplify the design and bring the strategy to users directly where they are. That we could actually make DeFi usable again. It's just like like a few years back there was a DeFi summer, and for our main goals we are asking ourselves like how can users like lend, borrow, and earn without like leaving any space, which is can be like possible within all in Telegram. And how do we like preserve decentralization while abstracting the complexity? And what if the like all these like earning strategies could be executed with like two taps within your phone with just like movement of your fingers? So as a result, the Factorial Finance was born. We are like infrastructure for the trustless asset management and protocol that runs natively on Ton and integrates directly into the Telegram mini app ecosystem. So we focus on three things: lending and borrowing. Like we have a bolts that run for the yield generation. And as I mentioned, the trustless asset management is designed to scale the Telegram for like every users. So we are not trying to reinvent DeFi. We are trying to reintroduce to people in a form that it's very easily and seamlessly accessible. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And well, let me introduce Tonstakers to this. Maybe who don't know, Tonstakers is simply smart holding. This is how I like to call it. You can stake your ton and enjoy returns and nice API rewards with no lockup or vesting. Simple like that. Stake with a simple design, with a much more secure way, and of course decentralized. But yeah, let's move forward to our topic today and talking a little bit more with DeFi. But before we proceed with looping and stuff, what has actually been exciting you the most in DeFi and Tone? Because when we talk in DeFi and Tone, there are many things come to your mind, and of course, many things has been developed over through years, and there is much more to come. But at this current moment, what is very exciting coming to your mind, MJ?
Yes, thank you very much for the interesting like question. So like for us as a like lending like protocol mainly, I would like to highlight like DeFi is on the like the vaults. The vaults where like like users can like put and deposit their money, and then they can like generate like extra like incomes and like yield generations. So it's somehow related to our like like topic for today, so looping. So as the ecosystem grows, like many different DeFi protocols are born, and together along before we jump into like this campaign with Tradoor, we did it with the Storm Trade team as well. So basically we are allowing like our users, they might have these idle assets. They just sit and they're looking for like maybe like very stable and secured like yield generation with like approximately like 4% APY. But within this looping strategy, it actually increases the the incomes with the leveraging. So simply saying, you put your like whether it's like ton or maybe it's USDT like stable coins, you exchange it to like the LP tokens, and then you reinvest them into the loop, and step by step it increases. And I think this is the one of the biggest like like DeFi meta, not only across the Ton ecosystem but all the other like blockchain like ecosystem. You can look at those like big players like in the EVM side like Morpho, Aave, etc. and that's how they actually like grow. But it's not just only their protocol grows, they're providing and like sharing these methods to actual its users, and you grow as a together as a one piece, as a like in a whole ecosystem. So I would like to highlight this like vault, like the looping strategies is the like one of the most exciting thing for me.
Indeed, it is. And Lev, what comes to your mind when we're talking about exciting things on Tone in terms of DeFi?
Well, I think, yeah, we could talk more about the trends later in detail, but I think as of now, what I see is interesting is that there are many more projects coming. Like we've been in Dubai for Token 2049 just recently, and there were so many teams that are actually just starting on Ton or expanding to Ton, or let's say even new dexes, new perp dexes opening, options dexes. It's crazy. There is and like it's nice that it's actually good, even though it's competition in a way, right? But at the same time, it's kind of nice that everybody can specialize in their own way, right? For example, I've seen perp dex that's basically like kind of gamifying futures. So there are like perp dexes that do RWAs. There are perp dexes like us that actually go into like deeper into functionality. And maybe as you've seen just today on trader channels, we plan to go deeper into AI and connecting AI plus SocialFi to derivative trading. So like that's a nice thing to see, that we can actually all together kind of like bring more value to the users within the ecosystem. And then I would say another thing that excites me is the, actually more TVL, more investments that are brought into Tone from other chains. Let's say there are guys like TAC, right? There are other projects that bring liquidity from Ethereum, from Solana, and there are initiatives like TGBTC, and it's just like it feels hopeful, of a much brighter future for Ton, since we see this kind of investments coming. Yeah, so there's just like two things I would mention for now. We could go more into trends later.
Speaking of trends, I actually want to stop here a bit because I also want to think and discuss a bit what's actually going to shape the DeFi activity right now on 2025. Because we see recent news are quite nice and hype, like Grok AI coming to Telegram, NFTs are booming, and much more, much more. Of course, a new AI tool is going to give a lot of opportunities for developers. But in your personal opinion, what's actually going to shape our DeFi activity in Q2, Q3? Dev?
Yeah, I mean, just as you mentioned, I think AI is a big narrative for Tone right now, and just as I've said before as well, it's a big thing, big vision for Trader to actually connect AI to derivative trading, so that AI can help you analyze your positions, analyze what's going on in the market, even let's say open trades for you, just from simplified commands like in chat commands. So it's definitely a big narrative. And once again, I've seen a lot of teams that kind of bring AI into trading, into DeFi in general, into Ton. It's I don't know. This excites me the most, I would say, out of the trends. I think the second thing I would mention is the educational narrative. We see that it's just like so much, it gets much easier to get onboarded into crypto recently, and I think like that's the vision for a lot of Ton based protocols, right? Because they kind of they're forced to work with a lot of beginners who might not know what leverage is, who might not know what is looping, what is staking, lending, futures, options, anything. Like, yeah, so we kind of have to be very understandable and simplified, and focus a lot on onboarding. But I think there is more and more educational stuff coming up. So we see, let's say, quests or like learn to earn, right? We see more courses coming up, and there is like educational. stuff going on in Ton within the projects. There are more educational projects by themselves, like by nature, happening, opening. So it's cool. Like I think Grok, right, integrating with Telegram, it's also a very big educational narrative as well, because like you can just like close the tab with, let's say, Factorial if you don't understand something, and right there on Telegram just ask Grok like, what is I don't know, what is risk ratio, right? Or like ask calculate this risk ratio for me, or like what is risky in this kind of borrowing, right? So and then you open Factorial back again in the same app. It's crazy. It's super cool. Like, so I'm looking forward to this like mix of AI and educational narratives, and we'll see. I hope like the value is just getting higher and higher for the whole Ton ecosystem because of this.
So, are you going to expect any AI in Factorial, MJ?
So for the AI side, I would say not yet. Like, to be like honest, because we are like very focused on like working on like platform and like new product and feature like development. But for me to add on like on the left's like like thoughts, I would say like very trends like we should like pay like attention and focus is the like the multi-chain assets plus like RWAs. Because as for me now, how it feels like this place is like very very like promising. It's already like like made a like huge like jump into the like next like paradigm of the the DeFi's. But yet like users still have very limited choices, meaning that when the multi-chain assets will be available, it's going to expand the like the possibility for the whole like new level of the like DeFi. For example, like as like Lev mentioned, like BTC, it's there was also release about like bonds, and then we are talking about like USDEs, all those like very strong like stable like stable coins or assets. It's gonna open the new opportunity for our like ecosystem and the users. And talking about the AI, I'm not really sure how it's gonna be in next like like few quarters. But let's just imagine in this way. So like as a Grok and like the Telegram is like collaborating. I want to send like let's say I don't know like 10 ton to left directly. From now I need to go like to the wallet. Then I need to like make the transaction. Then I need to sign it. There's a lot of like steps into it. But imagine you just like open the bot. You say like like from the contact list, I have Left's contact list that it already saves all the information. Hey, like like Telegram, send like 10 tons to Left, and imagine just like in a few seconds, transaction completed, and my asset is already in the Left. And I strongly believe it's gonna come one day. And since the like looking at the speed of like how it's quickly shifting, and I think it's gonna come very soon. So summarize saying like the multi-chain assets like RWAs like included, and maybe AI trends in terms of like making like less frictional like steps in terms of like trading or sending the assets, etc.
Indeed, the future is bright and interesting, but what is actually much more interesting is the present. So let's talk a bit more what Lupin is, because for newbies it's kind of not complicated thing, but it really requires a bit of easier understanding. MJ, I think you could do that the best.
Thank you very much. So for this, I think I need to a little bit share about the like previous like like let's say like half a year ago or a year ago. So when the lending protocol was created, there's like like we say like two major like use cases, right? Either you lend, either you borrow. So when the like assets are coming, the pool has created, the like the liquidity like comes and flows, and the market has like created. So it's very basic. If we look at the characteristics of the lenders, so lenders, they're the like the basically providers, right? Providers of the liquidity. So for them, it's like to seeing in the market, let's say this A platform has like better APY. So they brings their assets and their pulls in, like puts in, deposits in. And then like few moments later, if they find out there's a like better other opportunities, and then like the person can just like cash out and move into the different platform. On the other hand, the borrowers, they have like, more like steadiness. They will like, they tend to stick with the one platform longer, even if the like, the APYs are slightly like higher, I mean the borrowing like rate, but it's all depending on what you can do the next. Saying that this like, balance must be created like, with other possible like, opportunities, such as like, like, looping. Because if there will be borrowers, a lot of borrowers, lenders gonna come themselves. And I think Lev will agree with me, because if there's a lot of like, demand, it's just like, simple math, right? So lenders will provide like, if there's a big demand, they will get like, better APYs. So let's say now this market is like, made, it's created. So there's a like, the assets are like, like moving around the, protocol. So users, they find the extra and like additional source of the income with the looping strategy. So from the, I would say from our like loop 3 campaign, I can walk through the like, very simple ways. So let's say user goes to the Tonstaker. Let's say they have like, holding the Ton. So they like, like they stakes it. So they gets the, the like, TS Ton. And for the step 2, they comes to the Factorial, like, finance to our platform. Then they like, put the TS Ton and gets the actual Ton again. And then they go to the, Tradoor. So they're depositing Ton and they get Ton TLP. So maybe some of you guys already have seen, we like launched advanced market for TLP. So within this exchange Ton TLP, you can come and put in the our Factorial and borrow again the Ton. And then it goes to the back to the Tradoor, like change the Ton into the like, Ton TLP. So this is 3 steps are actually like, making looping. And in each step has a, benefits for the users. You stake the Ton with the, Tonstakers, you get like, the interest rate. Then you put like, in the Factorial, you get the, another like, interest rate. So approximately in averagely, you get like, leverage like, 3 times. So depending on the rewarding program and etc. And also, if I'm not mistaken, like Tradoor team is now providing the reward, like, the points for each amount of like, deposited like Ton TLPs. Do you want to add up some like, Lev?
Yep. So yeah, all correct, all good. So we do provide additional incentives from our side. So basically, yeah, you earn all of the APYs from every protocol. But so I think it's like without looping, right? It's 3 to 4% on Tonstakers, also like 3 to 4% on Factorial side, right?
Yes, correct.
And yeah, and when it comes to Trader, it's like around 17%, I think, for Ton pool. So yeah, apart from all of this APRs connected together, we also allocate the door point prices incentives. So first of all, for every 100 TLP, basically like trade or liquidity provider token, every 100 TLP that you purchase, basically investing into our liquidity pool, we let you earn 30 door points per day. So, for example, if you buy 1,000 TLP, you will earn let's say 300 door points per day, right? So, and then it also accumulates with each loop. So, for example, you provide 1,000, you buy 1,000 TLP, then you earn 300 door per day. But if you make a loop, right, I think you will end up with supplying, let's say, 990 TLP or something, because there's still like some of it is taken out in the for because of the risk ratio. But basically, yeah, you would end up with like 990 more TLP, which is another 200 something door points per day. So you can like make more and more loops, and you're gonna make more and more door per day with each loop, with every 100 TLP. So it could be massive return. And I'm gonna tell a bit more about the door point system later, to just like for you to understand why is it cool to accumulate door points at this moment. But there is also another bonus pool which unlocks at 1 million TVL. So once we accumulate 1 million at Trader side, because of this, due to this campaign, we will allocate another 2 million door points bonus pool, which will be distributed to the liquidity providers. So yeah, when it comes to door points, why is it cool to accumulate them? Because door points are going to be converted into our utility token, Tradoor's utility token upon TGE. And the thing is, we are in the green market. The product is amazing at this stage. So it's like, it's not a public announcement for sure, but I would say it's not going to happen too long from now. So it's cool to accumulate points. It's going to be a great airdrop to everybody who supports the project at this point. And please go on. Well, let's say it's not a financial or like investment recommendation, right? It's like, do your own research, of course, and understand what benefits and what risks are in the yield looping. But still, consider this a great opportunity to earn door points that are going to be converted into tokens plus additional APRs.
Appreciate that, and we got us a lot of insights. I'm looking forward to have the DeFi summer. But there is one more question regards to looping, right? So we also received the question coming from the community. Does it really matter when you come to the boring assets choice, rather this USDT or rather this tone? So you guys, I would love to hear your answer on that too.
Yeah, so for this one, I will like have a quick start left if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
So for me, like I want to just like add on the previous question on the loop again. So like I especially like I feel very proud to be here today for the Loop 3 campaign and introduction alongside with Tonstakers and Tradoor, because Loop 3 represents something like we believe in deeply. So it's not just like another one point of reward or incentive program, because we are building the ecosystem like together. Yes, like there was a lot of cases that like people come in and they're focus on incentives. But if you're true ton lover, and if you're true bullish on ton, this is whole spectrum of the DeFi live ecosystem within the ton. So like this is very important for us to build it, because if we grow, only if like our users grow together. So there's no such thing like competition. It's like some sort of I would say harmony. And to answer the question on the assets of the choice affect the loop performance, yes, it is. It depending on how we actually architecture it. So for the previous the loop market with the Storm Trade team, we provided USDT and TON. But for this moment, we're still working on it. But for the Tradoor team, we provided only ton loops. And for the next take, I think Lev, you can add on some information on that.
Yep, I think so. There is definitely another aspect that needs to be talked about is risks and price swings and volatility, right? Because that's I think that's what decides if, first of all, you're going to be liquidated. Secondly, how much you're going to earn. Because of course, the less risky it is, the less volatile it is, the less you're going to earn. Yeah, for basically, let's say, for stable coins like USDT, USDC, there is much lower risk, right? Because they're probably in except some extreme cases actually happened before, but probably they're not gonna fail. They're gonna remain connected to the main asset, like for example USD, and it's not very risky, but at the same time you're not probably going to earn much. When it comes to next step of volatility, I would say it's the blue chip tokens, right? ETH, like TON as well, right? They're more volatile than USDT, but it's not a meme coin. Like it's basically like not gambling, right? Like, it's that you kind of can predict the token price movement pretty much, and it's like you still need to, let's say, leave a safe margin when it comes to lending, borrowing, so that like you're not that likely to be liquidated. And I think Factorial provides all the info on like risk ratios, right, on their platform. So just take a look at that once you do looping, once you do borrowing, lending, and yeah, basically, of course, it does affect loop performance because it's gonna um, well, it's going to decide once again on risk and profitability. But when it comes to tone, I think um, that's a pretty solid asset to be operating with. And I like MJ. Do you remember like there were protocols that were doing meme coins for lending, borrowing, and this one
Yeah,
is
there
quite.
was a lot of
Yeah,
cases.
yeah. There's
Oh my
like
God,
I think most of them result in liquidations, right?
true.
Yeah,
So if you don't mind if I add something like
yeah,
left?
of course.
Yeah, so left touch very important side, which is risk because it's like asset related activities. We always encourage our users to DYOR, but first of all, we want to protect our users' assets as well in all the ways how it's possible. So if you go higher leverage, like for example, like there's a biggest platform out there which is hyper liquid, right? You can leverage as much as you want. You can get very extreme amount of the interest rate. But for us, we believe in this philosophy that we are still like young. We are growing together. So we are also trying out like different methodologies and we're trying to implement into in our Tone ecosystem. And at the end of the day, our like narratives are like we want everyone to have access to this kind of service. Either you're very extreme like professional trader or degen or whale. But for us, the Telegram itself, we have billions of users who are they might be not really friendly with the DeFi products. So for them to have less risk, but yet more stable income, like strategy, it's more fit. So that's why we also doing a lot of like risk analysis. We are closely working with Tradoor team as well, how to like structure it in the most safe way. Yeah, that's it for me.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. There are a few more questions left. As I said, let's talk a bit more about door points. What are utilities? What is the idea behind of it? What we are looking forward to have maybe this year, maybe this summer, who knows?
Yep. So yeah, I think I pretty much explained it in the answer to the last question. But basically, door points is our internal point system, which just like many other DeFi protocols, um, kind of allows you to receive an allocation of the token upon TGE before it happens, right? So the project usually is recommended to grow to some point of having a stable community, having stable traction on a lot of metrics like trading volume, like TVL, yeah, once again community numbers. So uh, before it goes into TGE with the token. So that's the approach that we went for. And for door points, well, you receive them for any kind of activity. You receive them for trading, you receive them for tasks. It could be partner tasks, it could be our tasks like follow, trade, or socials, right? It could be liquidity provision once again. But basically you accumulate these store points for all the kinds of activities, and then once TGE happens, these store points are going to be converted into the utility token of the project. So yep, we I cannot tell the exact date for the TGE, but I can tell that community is expecting it to happen quite soon. and it makes sense because once again the market is pretty bullish right now, and well, it in my personal opinion, it doesn't make sense to wait too much until the bear market happens. So also the project once again is doing well. We've just secured more and more investments. There was another There was an announcement 2 weeks ago or 1 week ago about a strategic round, and once again we've just published. In the news today about securing another round of 1.2 million, I think, for development of the AI basically co-pilot within the Tradoor platform. So project is growing. The traction is very good recently, and I would say it makes sense to expect it to happen quite soon. um, Please just accumulate as many as you can. We're gonna reward all the supporters, and for this campaign, once again, with every 100 TLP you invest into our liquidity pools within this campaign, after borrowing assets from Factorial and after staking them in Tonstakers, you will receive 30 door point for every 100 TLP every day for every loop. So you can get basically as many as you want, as many as you can. And later we're gonna allocate another bonus pool of 2 million door points. And once the TVL reaches 1 million within this campaign.
Indeed, future looks bright and interesting. Speaking about the future predictions, so how does Tom DeFi is going to look like by the end of 2025? What do you think, MJ? I'm sure you have a fantastic, ideas of that.
This is very wide angle question and very interesting. And for me, it's very simple. I want as much as more possible brilliant projects will be live on on Ton ecosystem. And as I mentioned, DeFi is not something that it should be manipulated within one team. We've seen this kind of rises and falls in outside of Ton ecosystem, in EVM side. Yes, TVL matters, the size matters, everything is important. But money itself, asset itself, it should constantly move in the within the ecosystem. And how it's going to happen within the partnerships and collaborations within the protocols within the DeFi ecosystem of Ton. So I see by end of this year, we are becoming more mature. So there will be more available products, features, services within the ecosystem when our users, where our supporters can get more stable and with the higher percentage of the the yield percentages. This is my prediction, and also I would say it's a part of my hope.
Indeed, all the hopes come true because we are the builders and we are building for the builders and believers. Left. As a builder, as a believer, as a DeFi support, as a Tone support, what do you think? What comes next?
Yeah, I think it would just be more alive, let's say, because more of these users who are coming from GameFi projects who didn't know much about crypto just, let's say, 1 year ago, we see a lot of them learning. We see a lot of them staying in communities, actually polishing their skills. So once again, when you add the educational and AI narratives, I think it's going to be even easier for them to to retain these users. First of all, to retain new users, to help them with the engagement with the platforms. So I think it's just going to be more alive because of users, first of all. Secondly, because of unlocks that are going to happen on the Ton side. Also, assets that are brought from other ecosystems like TGBTC, like Athena, the Ethereum and Solana that are brought through partner projects as well. It's going to be more assets moving. It's going to be more users that are moving these assets within the ecosystem, putting them to use. and of course more projects. Once again, as I've said, kind of like there are more projects that pick up a niche for themselves, and I think it's cool. I think it's just like, yeah, it feels like the ecosystem is going to be much more alive by the end of 2025, and this is my main prediction.
So yeah, indeed, explore Tone DeFi because you're still early. You have to be here right now. If you're late, well, welcome anyway because you're still early and there's a lot to build. There's a lot to explore and there is a lot to enjoy. Thank you
Can
so
I
much.
add 2 cents?
Yes,
Sorry.
MJ,
Yeah,
please. I
sorry.
was
Like,
about to ask you.
yeah, thank you so much. So add the 2 cents on Left's like speech just now. So as multi-chain assets, please like pay attention because we are expecting huge change of Factorial in, I would say, roughly like 2 weeks of time. Like it's a sort of spoiler alert. We'll be closely working with our ecosystem partners and community as well. So in terms of two features release, and as mentioned, all this multi-chain assets, our team, we are very hardly working on it to bring it to provide more possibility to our users. So please stay very close to it. We're gonna be active in socials and share the newses. That's it.
Yep. I would add from the trader side as well that same here. That's a cool narrative that we're joining within the Tone ecosystem, and maybe somebody's seen in the news, like on Cointelegraph, the trader is actually gonna add gonna make multi-collateral pools, and we're gonna support TGBTC as well to let you earn to let you use TGBTC for as a margin for trading or in the liquidity pools to basically earn additional returns. So we're also working with Ethena as well for USD. Where it's yeah, like even with the turbo mode right now, basically with the turbo accounts, that quite a new thing for Tone ecosystem for Tradoor. But you can basically deposit assets from Ethereum, from Solana, and this is not something you could do within Trader just a few weeks ago. And just follow the socials, just as MJ said, and look for this, new opportunities to earn within crypto and put your assets to use.
TGBTC is coming your way very soon, and we're all waiting for it, but no more spoilers. Guys, enjoy your ride in DeFi on Tone because you're just getting right into it. Thank you so much, MJ and Lab, joining us today, and looking forward to have more such of the sessions. And let's pick a bit later on when we guys actually have TGBTC and much more things coming to Tone this year, these quarters, this summers, these autumns, and these winters. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. It was great to have session with you.
Thank you. Are we gonna pick up the questions by the audience? We had some.
I actually named most of the questions
Okay, yeah,
from the
kind of,
audience.
right. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All
that's
right.
it. But
Yeah.
yeah, we can. Yeah. All right, wrapping up.